I'm Dex, and you know exactly what time it is when I bring out one of these videos in this format. It's book review time. Now, I haven't updated in a little while because I don't think I read enough to update consistently each month, but we're back and I officially hit my book goal this month, which was 20 books. I am now currently reading my 22nd, and it's time to review the books that I have read, and I'm pretty sure I left off with The Haunting of Hill House. So my first book that I read after The Haunting of Hill House was Persuasion by Jane Austen. I felt like this book really let me down in a sense because I read Pride and Prejudice first and I really loved it, and then I went on to Persuasion and it just wasn't as good. I did finish it, I didn't DNF it. But yeah, I was kind of hoping for some more along the lines of the story, and it's one of those books that like I've read and it doesn't really stick with me, so it's kind of like really annoying, so that's why I gave it 2 stars. The next one definitely counts. It's Heartstopper Volume 6. I love Heartstopper, it's been a big part of my life. Read all the graphic novels, watched the TV show, and I've watched the movie, and I had to give this 5 stars because 1 is the ending of the Heartstopper series, which actually left me crying, and 2, I just think it's the perfect book, and I think it was a perfect way to end off the series. I don't think I would rate it any less, and I just really love Heartstopper, so I gave that a 5, but I think that's just because I'm completely biased with it. The next book I read was Frankenstein by Mary Shelley, and I gave that 5 stars. I really loved the book and I loved the story of Victor and Frankenstein, and honestly I felt really sad for the character of Frankenstein. It was such an easy read as well. It was really like good to keep, how to describe it, good in a way that it made me not want to put down the book, and I was really hooked onto it, and I was super excited to read it, and I'm so glad that I finished it, and I think 5 stars is the perfect ranking for this book. Now moving on to maybe one of my potential favourite reads of this year, it was The Silent Patient. I fell into a reading slump around July time and I just couldn't really pick up a book that was like keeping me hooked enough, so that's why there's like a big gap of like also why I haven't been posting that much. But The Silent Patient was fantastic. I give it 5 stars. It was a book that I couldn't put down. It was such an easy read. The plot twists, the cliffhangers, everything about this book is exactly what I expect when I read a book, and it's a psychological thriller, and I just think it was absolutely perfect, and I really enjoyed the book. I couldn't recommend this book more. Not that I wouldn't recommend it, I couldn't recommend this book anymore, especially if you're in a reading slump, because it definitely helped me get out. The next book that I read after The Silent Patient is by the exact same author, and it was called The Maidens. Yet again, such an intense and interesting book. I think it's another psychological thriller. It wasn't, so I don't have this on physical, I have it on Kindle, and it was super interesting. I loved it. It was a page turner, I couldn't put it down, and yet again I gave it 5 stars. Something about this author's way of writing is super interesting, and he definitely knows how to keep you hooked, and he definitely knows where to like put a cliffhanger to keep you hanging on. Also, there's POV changes in these 2 books, and I honestly think that was super perfect. There's another book by him I want to read, and it's The Fury, so I'm super excited to get to that, but I haven't read it yet, so I'm hoping that may be another 5 stars, but we'll have to wait and see. After The Maidens, I read The Shawshank Redemption. I gave this 4 stars. I really loved The Shawshank Redemption. I loved how it was a single narrative, no chapters, and it was really easy to follow along, and I think the fact that it was just one single narrative, there wasn't any POVs. What I like about Stephen King's writing in this book specifically is the fact that you can't get a break, so you're wanting to read more and more and more and more, and it makes you finish the book faster. That's just a me thing. I think that's why he done it, but I can be completely wrong. I still haven't watched the movie. I need to watch The Shawshank Redemption, but yes, the book was a solid 4 stars, and I really enjoyed it, and I understand why Rita Hayworth was so important. So I just want to mention that The Shawshank Redemption was the book that allowed me to hit my reading goal of this year, which was 20. And the next book's obviously going to be 21, and that was The Perks of Being a Wallflower. Now, anybody that knows me personally knows that I love the movie The Perks of Being a Wallflower. I watched it like 6 times last year. But I just finished reading the book yesterday. It took me like 2 days. And it was such a fantastic read, but I couldn't give it 5 stars. I think it was 4.5, maybe even 3, maybe even 3.5. But I think the reason I would have gave it 3.5 is because at the beginning it was just kind of taking a little bit too long. I like the fact that, if you haven't seen A Perks of Being a Wallflower, this is spoilers, but I like that in the book is all just Charlie writing in diary entries and or letters to his friend, and I think that's super beautiful. But after that, I think it was super interesting to hear a lot of things that you don't get to hear in a movie, and the movie is still one of my favourite things ever. I do need to rewatch it because I just finished reading the book, but I think it's so weird to read a book that you've watched the movie before, and like the movie barely scratches the surface of the book, and I just think it's absolutely fantastic. I love The Perks of Being a Wallflower, and I love getting to know Charlie more in depth through the book. There's a lot of things that I feel like aren't yet again shown, and I honestly think it's just a perfect read, but I couldn't bring myself to give it 5 stars. So what am I reading next, and what am I planning on reading after what I'm reading? So currently the books that I'm reading is The Knife of Never Letting Go. It's a 3-part series. I tried to say the word, I couldn't say it. The other 2 books is The Ask and the Answer and Monsters of Men. I have The Ask and the Answers, so I have book number 2, but I don't have book number 3. But yeah, this is my current read. I'm super excited to get more in depth of it. I'm only 4 pages in currently, and I am a sucker for spray painted edges. Also, that means The Ask and the Answer is also going to be on my book TBR, and if you're not into books, it's to be read. I also have All These Bodies, and there was another book, Psycho. And I also want to read The Fury. I have a few on my phone, so basically the Kindle app, that I will be reading, but I don't have the names of them right now. But I'm hoping, not even by the end of this month, because I've read like 5 books this month after being in a reading slump for so long. I'm hoping to get to either 30 or 40 books by the end of this year. So I have 18 books left to read, minus books that I have DNF'd. I DNF'd Carrie and the Before the Coffee Gets Cold series, but that's okay. But yeah, stay tuned for my next book update, because I'll definitely make sure to do more of these, because I've missed doing them. I miss talking about my books.